Hello and welcome to Cricket 360. We are all set for the final ODI. Obviously, India has had a great start to the series with an unassailable lead, and India obviously has made four changes. This was expected as we spoke at the last time that you obviously want to ensure that anyway India is trying different combinations. So this was expected with Shikhar coming in, Shreyas coming in, Kuldeep. I mean, this is will be very interesting, and we have as always Joydeep Mukherjee with us. We're going to talk about what these changes mean, and we'll also talk about the exciting weekend coming up where you will see a very special panel discussing the IPL mega auctions. 590 odd players with 75 million up for grabs across 10 franchises. Lots to talk about. Joydeep, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Indeed, a very exciting weekend awaits us.
Absolutely. Let's quickly talk about this particular ODI. You were obviously talking, we've held Shikhar in high regard. Are you happy to see that Shikhar's back and, we will also get a fair chance today?
Yeah, he's had COVID, so which is understandable. He scored the highest number of runs since 2020 in the Indian team. So his name should be first in the team sheet. Doesn't matter who's captain, who's what. When you perform, that supersedes everything. A, B, this constant chopping and changing. It's good to try things out, but I can't remember we trying too many things when there was Tendulkar, Ganguly, and the odd Sehwag. Those three at 1, 2, 3. We didn't try too many things, and that yielded very good results. I am really happy to see Kuldeep back in the mix. Sometimes when you're such a bowler, maybe a little bit old school, back in the day, flight and deceive, the Prasannas, the Bedis, you need a little arm around your shoulder because the game has changed. The game has become a power game. And we even saw the great Bedi and Prasanna get carted all over the park in Pakistan because the power game, Zahir Abbas and Javed Miandad and Asif Iqbal, how they treated them. But now everybody bats like them because the moment you put the ball in the air, moment you flight the ball with the bats, with the technology, with the players being stronger, fitter, everybody's going at you. I mean, clearing a boundary is no big deal. Sometimes I go to the middle of Eden Gardens and I feel, my God, when I used to play, these two seem so far away. But now with the bats that they have, with the technology, with the how strong these kids are, the boundary is actually not that far away anymore. So, which is why bowlers like Kuldeep, they have guile, they have flight, they are really old school. So they will have off days. They will have 10-70 days, but they'll also have 10-45-4, 10-45-5. Those are the sort of days. They're wicket takers. So how you look after them is very important.
No, you're right. In fact, I was hoping to see the Kulcha combination today. I was slightly disappointed that Chahal's not there, but I understand you obviously are looking at the whole combination. And I was looking at some of the stats of both Chahal and Kuldeep. I mean, Kuldeep's got hat tricks across formats. I mean, both of these guys have reached 100 odd wickets in ODI. In pretty decent time. Of course, a lot of credit was given to Dhoni for backing them and helping guide them during matches. I wonder what will it be because Kuldeep coming back after a long hiatus. Again, I think whilst I'm happy, at the same time, the concern always is the guy is probably going to get just one match. And, everyone needs time to settle in. Likewise, when I look at the batting order, whilst I'm happy about Dhawan, and we spoke about it, that Rishabh, after one game of experimentation, is back. And again, is he back at 4 or 5? Time will tell. But chances are he's going to come back at 4. So, yes, all for experimentation, but yes, I'm not very sure what sort of a signal does it send to a player if he or she doesn't get 4 or 5 matches at least at a particular experimentative position. And you would, I think, when you were talking about the classical spinners, I recalled an interview that I saw of young Vicky Ostwal from the Under-19 World Cup, and very maturely he spoke about how he's not just experimenting with flight, etc., but also speed and release angles. He says this is something that our coaches are telling us today, that just given the batsmanship and the high quality bats and their builds, we need to experiment with angles and speed. And I wanted to just get your thoughts, as a coach administrator. Today, if you're a spinner in any sort of short format, T20, ODIs, I mean, I'm guessing flight alone can't be your best bet, right? You have to experiment with the dusra, with you could be an off spinner, but you probably have to experiment with variety and trying to land balls. It's so much about where you're landing, the angles, the speeds.
Yeah.
Is that what the general guidance is to the younger lot?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'll just finish off with Kuldeep. So when Kuldeep was with KKR, he was one bowler in the Gautam Gambhir era. He was another bowler in the Dinesh Karthik era. I remember having this chat with him in the team bus. He says, हमारे जैसे bowler के लिए कप्तान सब कुछ होता है. Because every game Gautam Gambhir came and said he will not get dropped in any game. First thing, you're playing 14 games. Okay, that's one. So straight away you're there. Then being told that you're my number one bowler. Some people have to be given that extra because I have seen Kuldeep in the latter half after Gautam left actually have tears in his eyes after he got carted in one game. So I've been through that. It's happened to me. It's happened to all the greats that I've played with, whether it's in the dressing room, out in the open. It's a tough game out there. But having a captain like Gautam, why was Gautam so good as a captain for KKR? Yes, his number one reason was Sunil Narayan. We've spoken about that, and we'll speak
Yeah.
about that in the next couple of days. You know, KKR changed because of Sunil Narayan. They won because of Sunil Narayan, and we'll talk about that in the next couple of days. That's a it's a better time for that. But all I'm saying here is that how a captain treats you, how Rohit treats, even if Kuldeep has an ordinary game today, no problem. You're just coming back and egg him towards their performance. Your second question, right now, all the juniors doing well, even the 2008 under 19 India team with Virat and Jadeja and everybody else, you know, the Manish Pande's and everybody who's as good as they were, they still took their time to get their feet. Manish Pandey did get that 100, the first Indian to get 100 in South Africa in the IPL. Because you can bowl whatever you want. Who are you bowling to? So Vicky Oswal will have. Vicky hasn't yet bowled to an
Of
AB de
course.
Villiers, okay, or the likes, you know, or a Chris Gale or the likes, or a Virat or the likes. So it's always skill. It's a game of skill. If I'm bowling, who's batting? If I'm batting, who's bowling? So my runs only matter just knowing who's bowling. So if somebody comes and tells me I got 100 against the team, I said, who were the bowlers? Was he there? Was he there? Was he there? Oh, wow, good. So somebody comes and says, I got 100 against Bengal. So I said, okay, was Ishan Porel there? Was Mukesh there? Was Akashdeep there? Was Shabazz there? Then I know that it was the first team that was playing. And that shows that against their bowling, you have the skills to get 100. So similarly, here, along with the speed, Muta Muralidharan worked as a spin bowling consultant in CAB, and I had the good fortune of being with him. He says you need two balls. One is your stock ball and one that goes away. And you need to be really accurate with both of these. You don't need anything else. He said he had two balls and he got 800 wickets in Test cricket. He
sounds
said Mendes,
sounds like a
yeah,
joke.
yeah, Mendes,
Unbelievable.
Mendes had six balls, but could not bowl all of them when the time came because it was too much in his armory. It's impossible to master six balls. You can baffle them for a bit, but then inaccuracy. The first thing you teach as a bowler, not a young bowler. As a young bowler, you tell him to bowl as quick as you can or turn
Yeah,
the ball as much as you can because you can do the rest later. But when you're a finished product, when you're playing for India or first class cricket, the number one priority is you have to be accurate.
very well said.
And
Nope.
then comes everything else that your variations and your how much you spin the ball, all that is secondary. Anil Kumble, the greatest example.
And that's a great segue to accuracy. And again, let's talk about the Indian bowling unit. We saw what happened in the second ODI. Prasid obviously impressed everyone, but again, kudos to Rohit to get to start off with Shardul. And I want to get your thoughts today with Deepak back. I'm sure we all spoke very highly of what Deepak every time he's had a chance to play for India. Again, seems one of those guys who is not just there to just bowl his 10 overs, but he's there to help India win. Seems like a team player. He's contributed with the bat during crisis, but we know his main duty is as a bowler. Would you start today with a Deepak Chahar? Would you keep Prasid
You
as a first change as well?
you will start with the Deepak Chahar because swing is his forte. I was a little disappointed with the way the West Indies batters played Prasidh Krishna. He was going to bowl five. I don't mind him bowling 5 overs, 10 runs and
Yeah,
let him go. 5-12, let him go. But he can't bowl 5-13-4. The game's over. You're chasing a reasonably small total by today's standards. So you don't mind him bowling 5 overs, 10 runs, but you don't give wickets to him. Then you can make up for it. If somebody's in the middle of a really good spell, it's his day, the pitch is suiting him, the ball's coming nicely out of the hand, there's pace, there's bounce, there's carry. It is his afternoon. You just play to him. Just give him that afternoon. Get by him. And you're telling your partner at the end of the over, one more to go. I think he'll bowl one more. I think he'll bowl two more, 12 balls. If we bowl 12 balls, we are into the spinners. We're into the next line. We'll re-plan again. We will refocus our target. But right now we got to get through these 12 balls. That's like playing a test match. These 12 balls. Let's the spell. Let's play the spell out. But this West Indies team, it's not their character to do this. And England and Australia, South Africa would have done that. Bavuma would have just stuck there, got hit, got beaten, and maybe not looked great, but he would have been there. Then he would have been on to the next bowlers. Today it could be somebody else's day. So whoever's in form, whoever's bowling well, you see that guy out and you try. If there are four guys bowling well, then too bad. Then at some point you take the chances. But you wait till that time when you see that are they all guns firing, or are there a couple of weak links where I can get close to this game?
Now, this has been a constant theme. You've been obviously talking about the fact that you've got to enjoy it like a long buffet. I love that analogy, and I want to bring this. I mean, I can't ignore the fact that we have an IPL mega auction coming up now. How much of that? Because we spoke about the massive commercial and the potential impact on an individual's life. The West Indian batsmen anyway play like it's a T20 game. How much of the impact? How much of an impact do you think the mega auctions are going to have on the young Indian batsmen as well as the West Indians who, anyway, Nicholas Puran, despite no matter how much talent he has, the commentators talk about it till the cows come home, but every game, he's playing a particular template. Do you think that they are all also kind of concerned about the auctions coming up?
Massive, because it's life-changing. India, maybe Australia, maybe England, South Africa to some extent, 3-4 boards with India topping it. Cricket is a wealthy sport, not for a lot of the other countries.
Right.
So I can imagine that livelihood depends on a lot of these contracts. And not only just, somebody from Sri Lanka, somebody from West Indies, so if these guys can bag an IPL contract, it's massive for them. I've known of some test cricketers. I had friends of mine visiting West Indies in different capacities with the Indian team. And they had former test cricketers, people you and I would line up to go and see, bowl for West Indies. They were out checking out if the hoardings were in the right place in a test match. So, after their cricket playing days are over, there's not a lot in it for them. Commentary and everything else is not as big as it is in this country. So, which is why they know that. And I was having this conversation over a round of golf with Viv Richards. Where is the talent gone? He says the talent in West Indies is gone because there's no money. So they feel going in playing third division basketball or second division soccer in America is more lucrative. So, but that's another day. But what I'm saying is that what happens is this is massive. And not only here, even in India, right now, every state is in quarantine. Today is the second day of quarantine. In the Ranji Trophy starting on the 17th, there's a 5-day quarantine. And every team has flown yesterday, including Bengal. Bengal has gone to Cuttack, to Bhubaneswar. They're playing in Cuttack. Every team has gone to its destination. So 5 days, they're not supposed to be meeting each other, but I can tell you, everybody's on the tenterhooks because with no more new teams coming, 30 more domestic players, at least 30, maybe even 40 getting in. That's the only thing that's on their minds now.
All right. I mean, that's, absolutely, totally kind of in sync with what you're saying. What we're going to do now is just about the match is about to begin. But like I promised you earlier, we're going to show you a quick promo of the upcoming mega auctions and the panel that's going to cover it. And then we'll quickly come back and wrap and we'll start watching the match all together. Can we have the promo, please?
So, thank you very much.
Wonderful, really exciting. I mean, we have so many ex-cricketers, including Joydeep Da. We obviously have Veda Krishnamurthy as well, and Deep Das Gupta. We, of course, have Buriya Majumdar himself, Anand Vasu, Rupa, and Norman from Australia, and myself. This is going to be fantastic because we'll be covering different aspects of the game. The commercials, the the career trajectories, the brand marketing element, because it's not just about the cricket. There are tons of brands and their marketing spends that are involved. We'll talk about from a statistical perspective, and of course, the match is about to begin. But Joydeep, I'm going to ask you a question: that who are your top five? Who are the top five players you are looking forward to? Not from any particular franchise, KKR or whatever, but in general, from an excitement perspective, the five talents that you think will kind of make the most amount of buzz in the upcoming auctions.
I think the young guns, the Ishan Kishans, the Shah Rukh Khans, but I'm also very interested in knowing where David Warner is going, where Shikhar Dhawan is going, where Quinton de Kock is going, where Kagiso Rabada is going. These are some match winners we're talking about. So this is as exciting as an auction since the 2008, the first one, because always there have been more retentions and then right to match, and then the auction is barely open. I mean, every team has got about 7 or 8 players they've retained already. But this time it's not that. The no right to match card is an awesome thing not to have, for the simple reason that you've got 2 extra teams. So otherwise, when the other teams came earlier, you would never get any of the top players because there are 4 retentions and there are another 3 or 4. So 8 players are retained with the franchise. Now you would never ever get a Shikhar Dhawan, even a David Warner, a Rabada, Ishan Kishan. These guys would have never been if the right to match card was there. So,
Absolutely.
but to accommodate these 2 teams, to be able to give them a fair run and say, okay, come build your team. Okay, you're a little bit behind, but not that far behind. And also, what they've done is these new teams can pick up a few players before the auction starts. So they're not
Absolutely.
losing their players. The KL Rahuls, the Hardik Pandya, they've been picked up by their new franchises. So now everybody's even Steven. Okay, we have Mahendra Singh Dhoni, we have Ravindra Jadeja, but you also have KL Rahul. You also have Marcus Stoinis. So you're also starting the auction with a few players, not on zero.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is going to be a massive equalizer. It's literally like
Yep.
a reset phase 2 for IPL after the 2008 wonderful auctions. Please do watch out a wonderful video that's come out earlier this afternoon where you've got the auctioneer, the man himself, to talk about that very first auction and some wonderful anecdotes. We'll obviously come back, throughout the weekend. Every time, someone gets sold or every time there's a break, we're going to come live from different quarters of the world. And from my perspective, the players you mentioned, for me, Warner, Quinton de Kock, Shreyas Iyer, these are obviously 3 big names. Obviously, you have the bowlers, Cummins and Bolt, but 2 young guns. I mean, Shah Rukh Khan is one for sure. And again, since I'm sitting in Singapore and I've been watching him like a hawk, Mr. Tim David, he's playing so beautifully. I think he's probably hit the most number of sixes in the PSL. He's a great
Yep.
fielder. I've had the good fortune of playing with him and watching him at the Kallang Sports Stadium in Singapore. I think he'll be an exciting pick as well. And there's just
For sure.
so many
For
fascinating. And
sure.
also, how can I forget the young South African, Dewald Brevis? I mean, what a tournament he's had.
Yeah.
500 plus run in the under 19 World Cup. So lots to look out
Yep.
for. 590 players under the hammer, 10 franchisees, $75 million. Let's go watch the cricket today, and we'll come back with lots more on Rev Sports. Keep following Rev Sports and Buria Majumdar on Twitter, YouTube, and you'll find tons of exclusive content coming your way all through the weekend. Thank you. Joydeep, I'll see you at the other side of the game. Hopefully, it's 3-0.
Absolutely.
Thank you.